Welcome to this morning's Black Man Spy, day 27th, U.S.-Iran war update. You might have noticed I've segregated the U.S.-Iran from Israel because Israel's having their own whole thing going on here that barely involves the United States. Whatever they're doing, I cannot see. There's no daylight between the United States and Israel, but they are fighting a war in southern Lebanon that is completely and wholly different from what everyone else is fighting. Yeah, get that espresso ready there, Kath. I got mine. And today, Jacob, we know that you've just got a paper cup from some imbis in southern
No,
Germany on your way.
I brought this for the trip. So
Okay,
this is my thermo mug for the trip.
okay.
Nothing,
And what's
nothing
yours?
fancy, but it works.
Okay, Wajeeh,
Local
what do you?
handmade.
Oh yeah, is there a camel on there? Looks like there should be a camel on
No,
there.
no,
Okay.
I wish.
Well,
No,
today I
no,
was
no. It's
exceptionally lazy.
Minnesota.
I actually have a coffee cup wall, and I didn't want to entertain you with the Petite Prince or something like that. So I took a Rachel Maddow's show cup, which was this is the cup I got when I debuted on MSNBC. My first show was Rachel Maddow's show, and she brought me on MSNBC as a contributor. She's the one who recommended me. And so I keep her mug and my Joy Reid mugs and my, Melissa Harris Perry and Chris Matthews, all the people that are no longer on MSNBC. I have all their mugs that I keep in the house. So, and the funny thing is, they always put one in front of you on the table. I'm the only person to steal it. I was like, hey, can I have this? Thanks. Bye. So,
Talking
all right.
Malcolm,
Yes,
we're up
Jacob.
to 1,000 viewers now. I'm just noticing
Mm,
we're up to a
I guess it's
thousand.
Perfect.
time to get to that brief, people. That tells me
Let's
people
get
are really
cracking.
waiting for this brief. Let's get cracking. I know you want to get onto your little show. We are going to keep this under an hour today, including questions. So, first things first, casualty board. I am using Al Jazeera's casualty numbers now because they are the most comprehensive that I've found. Today,
Yeah,
looking at Iran, there has been a dramatic increase in Iranian casualties. The
yeah.
International Committee of the Red Crescent and the Ministry of Health have raised the number from 1,500 to 1,937 people killed in Iran, 24,800, exceeding the 10,000 estimate we had over a week ago. That means they're finally getting in there and counting. And of course, that includes members of the armed forces, but also civilians. I've been reading some pretty stark things coming from civilians. One thing that I noted that was a little interesting that jived with something Donald Trump or Pete Hegseth said about 2 weeks ago, there have been multiple confirmed strikes on Iranian hospitals. I mean, you can't fake a building that was a hospital that's half leveled. Um, Pete Hegseth made this statement 2 weeks ago that if we see any protected facility like a hospital or a mosque or a school, we will strike it if it has any military capability. So the United States has adopted Israel's tactic of attacking hospitals. There was also an interesting discussion in Al Jazeera. They were interviewing people around the city of Isfahan, and that hospital there, their main hospital, got leveled. And they said the person on the street there who was against the regime is furious at the United States now in a place where they thought one time they liked us. Moving on. Yes.
But Malcolm, just on this point, it's also important to distinguish because this is a country that's being attacked by someone else. Some of the other actions that we see around the world, when it's counter-terror, sometimes it's harder to distinguish,
Yes, of course.
but this is a war that's happening, and you're attacking one country, and then you
When
don't
you
say
hit a
we don't give up.
hospital,
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. It's insane.
When the United States hits a
But
hospital, it means we want to hit a hospital. All of our strikes
yeah,
occur within 3 feet. We don't miss unless you've made a mistake in the numbers, like the girls' school in down in Bandar Abbas. They were off by 350 minutes. One number keystroke. Yes, Wajeeh.
Unless they are depending 100% on AI intelligence and not reviewing any of the AI decision making. That's exactly how they made the same exact hit on the schoolgirl in
Right.
Iran last week, based on older intelligence that the AI brought up, and they picked it up and made the decision, and without reviewing the AI recommendations on who to hit.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised to see more mistakes like that going to happen.
Look, I am a big fan of anti-AI. If you can't do it with people, don't effing do it. And if none of you have ever seen Why You Have Humans in the Loop, go watch the movie Hidden Figures about the three black women in the Apollo program. And John Shepard said he would not launch until the black woman they called a calculator would actually redo the numbers because he saw her do the numbers of his exact landing spot in her head on a chalkboard. And before he launched, he goes, until they said the IBM says you're going to land here. And he was like, what does she say? And they had to have her check an IBM supercomputer. So always put a person in the loop. Let's move on. United States, I have it at 14 killed because a person did die on operations, not in combat. 13 in combat, 14 total for the United States. That injured number is 375. They didn't upgrade that number there on the U.S. military. The Gulf states, you can see the numbers are varied. Saudi Arabia, 2 killed thus far in the whole war. Oman, 3. United Arab Emirates, 11, including the 2 that were killed yesterday. They said missile debris fell on Dubai, but it was missile debris. It was probably the warhead, and it exploded. And it killed 2 people, injured several. Qatar, 16 injured. Bahrain, 3 killed, dozens injured. Kuwait, 6 killed, dozens injured. Iraq, just like we said yesterday, 96 killed. Al Jazeera did a deep dive video they went out to Hebaniya, and it was pretty clear that the United States specifically targeted that hospital. It had red crescent symbol on the top. And they attacked the base because they said it was Hashid Shabi, the Iraqi militias that are pro-Iranian. They carried out 2 separate strikes on the base. And the Iraqi soldiers, are pretty angry that 7 of their colleagues were killed, dozens were wounded. And there's video out now of guys getting wounded in the attack by them being strafed by the A-10s. That's a pretty intense video. The guy got wounded in his hand, but you could see him running, and then you hear the bullets hitting around him, and he falls, and his friends going, I'm hit, I'm hit. These are all Iraqi soldiers in Iraqi army uniforms. They were not Hashid Shabi. So whoever put that out, this is one of those circumstances where Pete Hegseth is flipping the bird at people and doesn't care. And this could end all U.S. involvement in Iraq. You could see a circumstance where Iraq is get out, get out, get out now. Okay, Jordan,
And
there were
let's
20.
also,
Yeah, please.
Malcolm, let's also remember that's one of the Iranian goals. So
Yes.
Pete Hegseth is actually falling into this trap of getting enemies everywhere and not helping anyone.
You know,
It makes the job easier for the Iranians.
yeah. If you
It
want
was
to
back.
know if you want to know what's going on Hebaniya base, send somebody over. Go on base. Right? They're the
back
major
in
general of that base complaining about this. Yes, Wajeeh.
back in 2008, 2009, the CIA or the Pentagon came up with an equation: for every innocent person we kill with a drone or with a strike, we generate 1.5
New terrorists.
terrorists.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
That
crazy.
equation might change here, and Iran might have a different ratio, I think, where I think a lot of people are more likely to pick up the fight because of
Mhm.
It's their homeland.
We're idiots. Okay, making our own mistakes. Let's move on. Syria, 4 killed. Jordan, 28 injured. Palestine. When they say Palestine, they mean in Judea and Samaria, a ballistic missile component fell and killed 4 people on the West Bank. Israel, 19 killed, 5,492 wounded. That is a dramatically high figure, but that's provided by the Mogen David. Israel has been getting waves of bombs every day. Not one day has Israel not been bombarded. Finally, Lebanon, the tally is 1,116 killed, 3,229 injured from Israel's invasion of Lebanon. That has nothing to do with the U.S.-Iran war. Completely separate war. So serious numbers for serious people.
But Malcolm, it seems that the bombings of southern Beirut have subsided because if you
Yes.
look at the casualty figure, it surpassed 1,000 last Friday.
Mhm.
So it's only, in quotation mark, been 100 this week. There might be some underreporting, obviously.
That's because
Still,
right now the Israelis are concentrating all their fighting between the border and Tyre, the Litani River.
exactly.
And they have 3
Yeah.
axes of attack. We need to do a special on that war.
Yeah.
That's a separate war. And they said, the Israeli Minister of Defense said, we're keeping that forever. That will now be the new buffer zone. There will never again, we will not allow anyone to move back to it.
Yeah.
The Hezbollah minister, Fadlallah, his son, said the same thing. He goes, this has been their plan for decades to annex southern Lebanon into Israel. And now it looks like reality.
We spoke about that on my Q&A on Wednesday. Talked about these plans for
Mhm.
Greater Israel and this plan for the buffer zone, exactly. And how is this going to play into the Iranian Hezbollah narrative of occupation and all
Right.
that? That's going
Well,
to
I
play
mean,
right into that. So even though
well, it,
Hezbollah was under a lot of pressure in Lebanon, they have this opportunity now to get back in the game and gain some popularity again, unfortunately.
yeah, tell me about it. All right. Let me
Uh,
check our bookmarks because, yes, Wajeeh, please.
Let me know when you're gonna bring up the oil prices.
Well, I can bring up the oil prices right now. What's going on with oil? Very
Well,
interesting what's happening with oil.
the journalists I'm following that are experts in oil, they're saying if the war continues to June, which it seems like it would,
Uh,
oil price would be around $200 a barrel, which bring your gas tank price in the United States per gallon low at 7 and a high at 10 normal. Like that would be your base price in the United States for oil prices at the gas pump
mhm.
per gallon. So that's not looking too good for Americans or for the rest of the world.
It isn't. It isn't based on these things. Al Jazeera and CNN did a very good. No, it was CNN did a very, very good analysis of what appears to be very deliberate market manipulation by Trump. And they said they can base all of his statements are made with the intent to get generally 48 hours, right? These Friday things, and they actually show how the gas prices go up, then down based on a Trump statement. They hold until a Friday. Trump does something crazy. The market can't do anything till Monday, and then it shoots back up on Monday. And he's already with another statement like the war is over. We intend to not
Yeah.
do anything. And they said it's so blatant manipulation. Oh, actually, I think I have it here. Here it is. It's 5 minutes. I'll play that later. Let's move on. As you all know, even though it's not just Fez Friday, right? let's put that Fez back on, right?
Taco.
It's not just Fez Friday, it's Taco Friday.
Where's
As
the
you all know,
taco, Malcolm? Morning
Taco
taco.
Friday. As a matter of fact, every day is Taco Friday with Donald Trump. As you all know, we were on the timeline counting down to tonight at 7:55 p.m. And we were supposed to, that was the end of the 5-day extension for attacks on the energy infrastructure of Iran if they didn't close the Strait or open the Strait of Hormuz. This is the second time he's done this. The first was 48 hours. Then he said, "Oh, the negotiations are so awesome, and they gave me a gift. I extend it to 5 days, 5 more days, which is today." And as everyone said, it was going to close of business on Wall Street, right? Close of business on Wall Street today. Well, let's look at the latest statement. All I have to do is type in Taco Trump and uh,
Bang, it comes up.
okay, everyone's doing it. And let me see. I'm getting this. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get the latest. I got the taco chicken. Oh my God. Just the comments, right? Loser, 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 loser. And what I wanted to get was, here it is. I'll show you. This is New York Times, so that, because some people are like, what is your source? What is your source? I only use legit sources. When I tell you it's propaganda, it's propaganda. Trump extends the deadline again to open the strait
Yep.
or face strikes on the power grid. And it was supposed to be today. Yesterday, he extended that 10 additional days to Friday, April 6th, close of business. All right.
Yep.
Like do I look stupid? Wajeeh.
Y- Yeah, yesterday he was on Fox News, and they're like, he's explaining what how he came up to that decision, and he's like, the Iranians begged me for 7 days, and I because they gave me the gift of I the ships, the gift of the ships, I decided to be generous, and I told them 10 days. Like, where are you coming up with this?
You guys are, I'm sorry, but there are some memes out there people need to see. But um, let's hear it. Actually, I want to play that clip because you know what? Don't believe me, believe Trump. So here's the tweet that he put out yesterday. For those of you who didn't see it, as per Iranian government request. And the Iranians are looking around, oh, well, what? you know, please let this
Like,
statement serve to represent that I am pausing the period of energy plant destruction to Monday, April 6th, 2026 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Talks are ongoing, despite erroneous statements to the contrary by the fake news media and others. They are going very well. Thank you
Yeah.
for your attention to
Beautiful.
this matter.
thank
Yeah.
you for your
Okay.
attention to this.
And immediately,
Wonderful.
the national meme was Trump always chickens out. Taco. Sam says it's taco every day. Yeah, it is taco every day for Trump. And that's his game. This
Yeah.
is literally his game. So here's the part I wanted to play you about oil manipulation, because that and the description of what the gift are the significant activities of the day. This is Richard Quest. Richard Quest is without any question one of the funniest, but also one of the savviest media guys out there. Pay no attention to his sexual life, right? This is the guy who got caught like on meth and drunk in Central Park in like a bondage outfit. But now that I've put that into your head, Listen to what he has to say about oil manipulation. This is about 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Notably, it was before markets opened earlier this week when the president had some other statements seemingly meant to calm them, rosier comments on the state of the war, or at least a willingness to discuss diplomacy. Is that a consistent pattern that you've seen from the president's statements in recent weeks?
Jim, from where I come from in Northern England, we have a saying, let's call a spade a bloody shovel. And you just got to call it as it appears. And here, there is no doubt that when the heat gets really hard in the market, something happens. The president says something, he acts, there is a movement that takes the heat out and the market rallies back up again. But nothing fundamentally alters underneath it. And that's the important thing to bear in mind. And in fact, arguably, the underlying movement is deteriorating and worsening. All that's happening is the market is being teased, if you will. It's being sugarcoated, manipulated with a small m. It's being told things it wants to hear. And as a result, it goes back up again. You can't necessarily say that, and I wouldn't say that's the president's motive, because I don't know. But I can say that the relationship, as you say, between these statements, market movements, reality of what's happening, true change in the economic circumstances, which, as the OECD points out, is deteriorating, that there is a connection.
So there you go. CNN just straight up calling it that it's market manipulation. These coincidences are pretty interesting. Interesting article in Al Jazeera, Tehran's toll booth. Does this sound familiar? And they are literally calling it, well, they haven't called it an easy pass yet, but they have identified that it is the only way in and out of the Persian Gulf right now is through the multi-pass, easy pass toll booth at Larak Island. And this is why people are having this discussion of seizing Larak Island.
And we've been talking about that for 3 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is part of the Iranian negotiation demands that they want to keep that sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz and treat it as if it was the Suez Canal, meaning any ship that passes through the Strait of Hormuz has to stop by Iran and get frisked, essentially pay the bill and move on.
Okay. And it's real. And the only thing they haven't done is printed out the multi-pass that I invented for them. And I'm certain they're going to go, that's a great idea. So next, to give you an idea of the fluidity of this, yesterday, 2 vessels that were bringing oil and natural gas from Al Ruwais, it looks like, the United Arab Emirates, the CSCL Indian Ocean and the CSCL Arctic Ocean. These are 2 ships went in convoy up to the multi-pass toll booth. And apparently they did not pay their multi-pass toll, right? Or they didn't throw yen, renminbi, yuan, Chinese yuan, $2 million of Chinese yuan out off the bridge of the ship. So this is what happened. And turned around. Get your happy ass on back to your anchorage down in Abu Dhabi. But do you notice they do not even attempt to go to the traffic separation scheme? They avoid the traffic separation scheme in the middle of the Strait of Hormuz. This is it. Iran has now quite possibly created a future toll booth for everybody. And that could have big implications. Well, it will have big implications on what's going on out there. Comments?
And I tell you, Malcolm, these people don't give a shit about Trump's threats to do all kinds of things to stop this scheme. I mean, they'll let Trump take it by force and take on that war. That's just the reality of how these people think.
there are companies out there who will go $175 a barrel. Here's your $2 million. These ships go from the value of like $100 million per ship up to $350 million if they get outside the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, that's like throwing a €1 coin into the bathroom stall at a German truck stop. You got to pay it to get in. And $2 million is nothing. That's a bargain. They'll probably double it here soon.
Yeah.
Wajeeh?
I think that the Iranians have successfully taken control of the Strait of Hormuz. The and the ship that looks like it got its sorry ass back where it came from.
Yeah,
And
with his legs between its tail.
exactly. I just think, like Assad, like, countries like Saudi Arabia have been preparing for situations like this for about like 20, 30 years, where they have the situation status of no, the Saudi strategic pile of oil. They
Mhm.
have uh, they have many underground bunkers or mountains filled with oil. um, and the head of or the minister of oil refused to comment on how much oil we have in that security reserve. But
Mhm.
from my own investigation, it doesn't look like that oil will be available for global market. It is much more like the security oil reserve that the United States has. So each country now is digging in and has to use what they have. They're not depending on any shipping containers moving from anywhere
Yeah.
because it's just unstable and they're all preparing for war. When you
Yep.
see countries refuse to ship and sell their oil, that means they have a national security situation, and national security situation regarding war and oil is just you can't have ships, you can't have plane, you can't have infrastructure without that oil. You just need to have that oil.
Or medicines. As you recall, India is suffering because it's chemicals they use. India is the largest generic medicine company in the world. And if you get your medicines, it says, some small shop aspirin or some small shop acetaminophen or Walmart or aspirin. That's generic. And most medicines today are generic. And India is the largest producer of generic medicines. Most of the chemicals they use come from Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. So they're saying we're going to have a massive shortage of generic medicine if they don't get the oil and chemical byproducts from the Gulf. That being said, let's move on. I want to go on Iranian attacks yesterday. There were 3 ballistic missiles fired at Jordan yesterday. They were intercepted. Kuwait's Ashuaiba port got hit by a ballistic missile. Actually, let me go out to the big board here. I know you guys want to see this on so I can point to them. So we'll go to Google Earth and get you a good view of how big this war really is, right? This is not something that's small. This is serious business in terms of throwing ballistic missiles. While that comes up, we'll talk about this. Israel, they didn't get them. They haven't reported the number of missiles that hit it, but they say Israel got 2 waves of missiles. That means 2 or 3 more, you know? Oh, that's interesting. Somebody said, my comment of the date of April 6th coincides with the arrival of the Navy's special operations ship that was moving in out of Singapore. That's the Expeditionary Sea Base, ESB, that is coming out. Okay. Saudi Arabia, no, United Arab Emirates, 6 ballistic missiles yesterday, 9 drones. And that, let me tell you, they got it in for the UAE. They just hate the UAE. The
Mm-hmm.
UAE has received more missiles than even Israel.
Even though they use,
370.
even though the Iranians use the UAE as their money washing machine.
Yep.
Yep. Well, that money ain't good enough. Since the
No.
beginning of the war, the UAE has received 378 ballistic missiles, 1,835 drones. And that leads me to believe there's a lot of things that are getting hit that we didn't hear about, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But interesting component of that war. On the Iranian side, the Iranian news, IRN, has reported that the government, the IRGC, has done a call-up of all IRGC members, all Artesh Army members, all members of the armed forces, even if you have lost your base. Everyone is coming on to active duty and getting rifles. They are claiming they are doing a 1
Probably also
million.
the Basij.
The Basij, that's right, the volunteers.
Mhm.
You're right. As a matter of fact, they opened up the Basij to 12-year-olds.
That's right. That's right.
Oof.
So
That's
now,
right.
for those people who kept, and I see this in the comments all the time on Twitter, they don't know we got a lot of airplanes. They got 1 million men. And you know what? I've seen their offensives. When they're serious, like the Iran-Iraq war, 100,000 men thrown at the Iranians or Iraqis in one morning was no joke. So if they want to lose 5,000, 6,000 guys to retake an island, they have that capacity. Okay? I mean, we got to take that seriously. Next, United States.
Can we go to the Gulf states if we're gonna about since they were hit, or are we gonna do you have a segment for that coming up with GCC?
Oh, do you have other bases? I had just Israel, Kuwait, Jordan, and UAE.
Oh no, I was going to talk as a response to these attacks. Do you have a segment for that?
Yeah.
Or
Let me get through the U.S. component here,
okay.
and you can have the rest of the show. Right now, I'm going to show you the chart. The political talk has turned away from invading Kishem Island, although right now, any of these islands, I'm sorry, I'm going to show you the map. I thought it turned. There it is. Any of these islands that are Iranian are on the map for raids or seizure. But the political talk in the White House is now these 3 islands, Greater Tomb, Lesser Tomb, Abu Musa, and the other one is Larak, but I don't believe it because Larak is just too close. You're surrounded by Iranian bases and rockets, mortars. But these 3 islands, they're saying, have a political component that is legitimizing the United Arab Emirates' claim to them. The Shah of Iran invaded those 3 islands in 1971 when he was America's darling sweetheart and seized those islands from the United Arab Emirates. Greater Tomb and Abu Musa actually had Arab fishing tribes that are there that now live in Ras Al Khaimah, and they want to go back. And so the talk is now that we will seize those 3 islands and make it legitimized that we're returning them to the United Arab Emirates, and then immediately turn those into fortified American bases and move air defense out there so that it now protects the UAE further out. The only problem with that is they can bombard the shit out of that base. They're tiny, right? I mean, they're really small. So, this may be the political out that they use where they say we're not invading Iran. We are reaffirming and bringing back the United Arab Emirates' stolen land.
Yep. And for anyone who's too clever by half, that might sound like a good idea, but that is going to just make everything go crazy anyway. So it's no solution in the first place. They'll keep control of the Strait of Hormuz. They will go nuts and destroy the UAE oil infrastructure, etc., etc. So
Yep.
it's really, it's not,
Very true.
it's not thought through, and all these things that they're now debating and leaking, etc., etc., half measures, they'll all make it all worse.
Yep.
So it's
Okay.
really, it's just so dumb.
I know. So that being said, I just want to out process, and then Wajeeh, you can give your little chat. This is a cartoon from the far side, cartoon from when I was there, 1987. And it says, you can't see the joke at the bottom. It says, through a gross navigational error, the Love Boat steams into the Strait of Hormuz. 1987, sea mines, high-speed boats with machine guns, ships. Does this look familiar? 1987, people. This has been a very long-seated problem. Again, I was 24 years old when I went into combat in the Strait of Hormuz, in the Persian Gulf, and I'm old now. Okay, that Wajeeh, we'll let you go. Then I got a couple of videos, and then we'll go to questions.
Yeah.
Just give a
I
couple of
will
minutes.
start. I will start with Trump. Trump has publicly mentioned, not publicly, has privately been talking about sending 10,000 more troops to the area. After that, you have Ukraine. Zelensky was in Saudi Arabia yesterday discussing more military deals. And at the same time, Ukraine took out 40% of Russian oil production yesterday.
Which is
Um,
awesome.
and it's big deal when it comes to, and especially during this situation, it's kind of very sensitive time. When Russia is very dependent on its national oil as national security. Saudi Arabia has a very strong public difference between its private and public stance at the moment, where publicly it has been calling for slowing down slowing down and calming the situation. And during and the same time, you have the Guardian and the New York Times are both saying that he is privately asking Trump to annihilate the Iranian capabilities and destroy the Iranian government. UAE is actually having that opinion in public. Yes.
Wati, one thing here. These sources that the Guardian and New York Times use are Donald Trump government sources. They have
Often, yeah.
They have a clear interest in leaking that and overstating it. So
Yeah,
just the source validation on the media there is not
I
spot
think that
on. So
I think that there are guys in these countries who wouldn't mind coming along with the United States, but the stakes are incredibly high. The United Arab Emirates going to do it. They want those islands back. But the Saudis, now you're talking a massive war, and there's people there. There are people out there advocating that they should do like Desert Storm, a war I was in, where they would combine their forces and try to go to Tehran. I mean, this is crazy talk.
Well, Saudi Arabia is, well, this is not coming out of nowhere. Saudi Arabia did say that they are on the verge. Saudi Arabia publicly did say that Iran is coming very close to us being involved. So they have been
Good.
giving actual public warning publicly from the government. Even if, like, I definitely can see the Trump administration exaggerating and leaking these facts. Um, but that doesn't change that there is a good portion of the MBS circle that actually want that uh that want that want to see this keep going.
Good.
If
Well,
it doesn't, then you have Qatar. Qatar has publicly stated that their future relationship with the United States, is no longer the same.
well, this is a good segue into the next thing that I have. Yesterday, Iran put out a map and a chart saying that if Karg Island is invaded or any of our other islands are invaded, without any question, they will immediately attack these locations. And some of it is scary. All right. They are going to attack all of the gas of the desalinization plants on the Western Gulf. And on energy, they will destroy Jebel Ali natural gas transport facility. This one is the scariest one because I completely forgot the Baraka nuclear power plant down in southern UAE was working. When I left, they were just putting in the dome, and I thought, oh, it would take years to put the core in. It's actually operating, the Baraka nuclear power plant. They said they will hit the Baraka nuclear power plant. They also said they will take the Tawila natural gas facility. These are all in the same area near Tawila. Is here south of Dubai, right? Over here, M Station, Mohammed bin Rashid Solar Park, one of the largest solar fields in the world. Jebel Ali there, right? Then down here, Baraka. What Baraka is? Baraka's over here. They've got it in Qatar. It's not Qatar. It's Abu Dhabi. And they ain't talking about having a good time down here, right? They're talking about really damaging these places. And you notice they are overwhelmingly pointing to the United Arab Emirates. But that's what they're going to do to the UAE. They want to end all business in the UAE. I read yesterday a report that the housing market in the UAE, which was explosive, because the Russians and everybody were hiding all their money there, it's completely collapsed. People cannot sell their houses. People don't want to stay there. They can't Airbnb them. It's going to hell, and it's going to be, which is, that image of the UAE as being a secure place to operate is now out the window.
It is. The business model is gone.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how long it takes to get back. Might be 10, 20 years. Last thing I want to show, and then we're going to go to questions, is the Iranians are world class at trolling us. They are just freaking awesome. And the funny thing is, I'm not the only one saying it now. Everyone is seeing that the quality of their propaganda eclipses anything we put out, right? Yesterday, the only American thing I saw was a picture of Trump, like on a ski boat, being pulled by a ski boat, and is looking super fit and athletic, and Iranian boats blowing up behind him. It's stupid as hell. This is the spokesman of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, right? On my favorite part about this is if you look down, he's got his Rev Guard skateboard. I want one of those. I want one of those. But anyway, here he is. And this is their trolling video that they put out after Trump talked yesterday.
That looks like some pomegranate juice.
Cold chilling, drinking pomegranate juice, watching ballistic missiles fly while he's fucking shredding on the road. And it's like, we gotta hire this guy. Why are we not going? The CIA should be like, yo, I don't know who you are, but we got more money. All right? I mean, they're really good at this. Okay, this video yesterday, it's only about a minute, started playing on Iranian television in the mobilization of their armed forces. Do not ignore this stuff. I try to explain this to people. Everybody's oorah, Americans are awesome. All right? These guys have people that will fight us. They will. And they will kill us. And when you least think, this isn't Hamas, right? These guys are in a country the size of the American Midwest, and there will be 1 million of them. There will be at least 250,000 who will be dying to run out there. So this video is an old video of the Iranian army. I'm going to play it for you because all I want you to do is ignore the helicopters and the airplanes. They don't exist anymore. But everything else is legit. Scuba divers, placing limpet mines on ships, these guys in underground tunnels. It's real. And if you think that those people won't fight, then you are just surrendering us to danger, right? Let's check this out about a minute.
This is not Saddam's army.
No, it ain't. Okay. This is what I try to explain to guys, especially when I was in the Navy and I worked with naval special warfare. I'd say, yeah, go kill those guys. But you better respect that they have the option, they have a chance to kill you. And it's when you disrespect their culture and disrespect the potential as a war fighter. A lot of people say, oh, we destroyed the Iraqi army in 3 weeks. No, you didn't. The Iraqi army disappeared at a predetermined signal. Right?
Yeah.
Left, 85% of them were Shia. They just walked home. The rest of them disappeared on command and then killed 4,500 U.S. soldiers in an insurgency. On command, they disappeared. They prepared for almost 8 months to have a commando guerrilla war. They buried over 10,000 weapons caches in that time of artillery, rockets, machine guns. Don't think that these guys can't bite just because we have cool gear. They are proving that, ask the democratically elected government of Afghanistan how it went. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the Taliban. And now they're wearing all of our cool guy gear, right? And crashing their helicopters. Other than the helicopters, the parachutists, and the, in the airplanes in there, all those capabilities exist. They have a naval commando force. You'll be sitting there going, oh, there's no way they can come get us. Next thing you know, those freaking kayaks they have are landing on Karg Island, right? And are blowing shit up. And you're like, I didn't think they could do that. Don't think they could do that. Assume they could do that. Predict that they can do that. Then fuck them up when they get there. But our biggest problem is often cultural and racial. What do you think, Wajeeh?
I think that again, I put out an article yesterday on my profile trying to explain the mentality of the Iranian soldier.
Mm-hmm.
The whole atmosphere that the Iranian government have used to use the Itna Ashari, the 12 Husseini Shi'i ideology to
missing imam.
instill the jihad and willingness to go and above and beyond. So if it's a kayak, they will get on a kayak. Dude, if it's swimming on their own back and having the bomb on their back, they will do it.
I always hear this statistic that 40% of the country are young men under the age of 24. I don't know about you, but a lot of young guys want to fight. They want to prove themselves in war with their friends. It's the entire premise of Hamilton, right? That everybody wants to go out to prove themselves. And that you will find hundreds of thousands of young men that will join this war. Right. And by saying, oh, by the way, somebody mentioned to me in a comment about 12-year-olds being allowed to jihad. Right. There's a reason for that. They're not going to use them as suicide bombers. You know what they're going to use them as? Motorcycle and scooter couriers. And that is the most secure communication there is. I write a message down, I hand it to the kid with the place he's got to go. You have 50, 100 of these guys. World War I mean, that was Indiana Jones's first job in World War I, right? Motorcycle courier for the Belgian army. You know, and they'll take messages that people like me or NSA, you cannot intercept a piece of paper, right? And those guys will go all over the place. And the next thing you know, you'll be like, we have no idea what their command and control is, but somebody's moving messages.
Yeah.
Don't ever doubt a 12-year-old, especially you put them in uniform.
And Malcolm, when we say all these things and you show the videos, etc., at least it's not about Iran and the IRGC being the world's best army, etc., etc., but it's just
not at all
constant underestimation of the opponent that we've seen from Trump and Pete Hegseth, etc., etc., and it will only lead U.S. forces into deep, deep trouble because these guys need to be respected because they are dangerous. And it's not some donkey show or anything like that. It's going to be really hard and really challenging, and they'll have so many losses if they underestimate the opponent once again. But that's been the signature for how many? 27 days now.
Yeah. 27, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 28 in the Middle East.
Let's wrap this up on time today. We're going to answer a few questions. First, Daniel Demenberg, actually, no, it's Shane Granger asked this question twice. Jacob, the Iranians are asking for energy payments in renminbi, Chinese money. Is the war attracting the end of the Bretton Woods Agreement? That's the global economic order.
It's an attempt to undermine it. How it will end, but it's an attempt to weaken the dollar and to strengthen the Chinese hand because the Iranians also want more Chinese support. So that's why they play it straight into the Iranians. They're not dumb, unfortunately. So everything they can do to undermine the dollar, that's jolly good.
Yep. Urban Hermit, who's a good question asker, makes a comment. Malcolm, you were just a child. I made my first mini deployment in 1969. I had to go around Africa as the Suez Canal was still closed. Yes, I'm a baby compared to you. Good God, I was 8 years old in my diapers back then. God, you know what? First off, you telling us you are salty as hell, okay? You're old school. You were in the Navy when my dad was in the Navy. Salty being the Navy version, the Navy meaning of salty means highly experienced, right? The salt dries on you. So Linda Wade says, do you think the CIA underestimated the amount of jihadists or Iranians created? Jake?
No, I don't think the CIA underestimated it, but I think the government doesn't want to listen. I think there's ample proof of that in many respects. I don't think the CIA would have underestimated it.
Yeah. Dan Demendenberg says Israel media is saying 700 of the dead in Lebanon are Hezbollah operatives. Do you believe that? Yeah, I believe that. The problem is you got 450, almost 500 civilians. So you're killing almost 1-to-1 civilians to fighters. That I know, there's this Gaza philosophy of whatever it takes. And look, I went to Israel right after the massacres. I have been down in the, I went to all the kibbutzim, Kefir Oz, Kefir, and where all the massacres occurred. Real time, almost real time. And I understand it, but God, you gotta start fighting these things with ethics. Okay, next, Rosen Deardorff. I lived and worked in Tehran for a couple of years. Are we trying to turn it into Gaza? I don't think so. I think we're hitting the country's so big we couldn't turn it into Gaza. We would have to just oops, sorry. We
If
can't
you
turn it into Gaza. We don't have
if
that
you
capacity.
compare the sizes, Gaza, you wouldn't be able to see on a map of Iran. It's smaller than Greater Tehran. So
Yep.
When I hear
Rob?
someone say like turn Iran into Gaza, what comes to my mind first is like Israelis hitting without conscious. That's what
Yep.
comes to my mind. So
Yep.
if that's what you mean by hitting like Gaza, then yeah, I could see Israelis hitting without a conscience. But
Yeah.
are they gonna turn the infrastructure of Iran like the infrastructure of Gaza? I don't see that
No.
happening.
Not happening. And, people just don't understand how massive Iran is. I've sailed from one end of the border from Chabahar all the way up to Bandar Khomeini, which is Khorramshahr, and it takes about 30 hours of a ship steaming at maximum speed. 30 hours a day and a quarter just to go across their right-hand ocean border. That's long.
it's
Okay.
it, it's it's bigger than Iraq and Afghanistan put together.
Yep. Somebody asked this weekend, by the way, tomorrow is the No Kings rally. I'm speaking at a No Kings rally in upstate New York. Somebody said, do you think that they will attack in order to distract from the No Kings rally? I don't believe that. I think they will attack. If they're going to attack this weekend, I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Carg Island raid happen this weekend because the market's closed. I think if they're going to attack, it's because they're ready to go and because they're going to do it in a phased manner. Karg Island, Abu Musa, Lesser Greater Tum, and then hold. And then I got to tell you, there's 3,000 paratroopers and rangers and stuff. That ain't for the islands. That's clearly for either Yazid Mountain Ballistic Missile Complex or Isfahan, or Fordow, or Natanz nuclear weapon storage. And as I said yesterday, bring backhoes because that force is too large for anything in the Persian Gulf. It's just too large. What do you guys think?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Don't know what Trump wants to do with an extra 10,000 troops.
It says, you guys have not discussed the terrorist money of the regime of Iran and Gaza alone during the rule of Hamas. Regime converted $1.5 trillion from the descent of Iran to build Gaza, the largest killing fortress in the world. Well, a lot of people funded Gaza. The Emirates, the Saudis, and now they're talking about turning it into Jumeirah Beach residence. You still can't ethnically cleanse 2.2 million people. Iran funded a lot of it, but so did a lot of our allies. Qatar gave a lot of money. Now we know something about it. And believe me, I mean, I was right off Gaza when I went. We funny story, accidentally drove to the last Gaza checkpoint of the Israeli army. And the soldiers were looking at me like, hey, man, where are you going? I was like, oh, we're taking this road up to Kfar Oz. He goes, that's Indian country. You drove into a part of the place that was literally overrun by Hamas, and it's now an open kill zone. And I was like, so I turn around, and then he saw a black guy driving there. He's like, yeah, you turn around here. Looking right at Gaza, I could see, it was a kilometer of before the high rises, which were all blitzed, were there. Okay, that's it for today. We've gone over just a little bit. We didn't go over an hour and a half. Thank you all for coming. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, subscribe to YouTube channel. We're trying to get up to 200,000 followers on YouTube. If you are watching this on Substack, please touch that gray button up top. It says Black Man Spy. All of the subscription boxes will pop up. Subscribe to Wajeeh Lion, who is raising his finger. What's up? You want subscribers. That's what he's raising his fingers for, subscribers. And Jacob Kaarsbo, subscribe to him as well. If you want to make comments, if there is an attack this weekend, I will be doing first. If it's really an emergency, I'll do an open live. If it can be controlled, I will do a paid subscribers live, because you really are supporting me. You're supporting Jacob. You're supporting Wajeeh, and you deserve to get my deep dive off the top of my head analysis first. And somebody keeps asking for a tour of this room. I will have to do a tour of this is my writing office. This is not my man cave. I actually have a man cave called the Man Skiff, because it is actually a skiff rated to the secret. So, and all my I Love Me stuff is in there. So that being said, thank you for coming to Black Man Spy Day 27 update. See you all tomorrow.
See you all.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.